Hello and welcome to I Wrote That, a podcast where we bring authors and book industry experts to talk about all things book and the publishing process. Today I'd like to welcome Ruth Fae. She is an author, editor, and intuitive writing coach who helps people tell their stories and speak their authentic truth. Through her years as a journalist and a copywriter, Ruth has learned that the true magic of storytelling is to heal, nurture, and create connection through sharing the wisdom of our individual and collective experiences. How you doing, Ruth?
Good, thank you. How are you?
I'm great, thanks. It's so exciting to have you here. We're both working on the Get Published book, so the collaborative book where book industry experts come together and share their secrets about the industry. How did you find this project? How'd you come to pass with it?
Good old Facebook. I was part of a multi-author collaborative book, my first one actually, that was launched at the start of the month. No, in October it was. And I guess through just being part of that community on Facebook and getting to sort of know other people and see comments on posts and all the rest of it, I connected with Nicolette, who's one of the two co-authors of the book, and saw that she'd put out a post looking for people basically. And then we had a chat that was, I think, meant to be for half an hour, and it went for about an hour and a half because we just got talking about everything book related and life related and being a woman in your 40s and all that sort of stuff. And yeah, after that conversation, it was simply I need to be part of this. This is amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you mentioned you had a collaboration book post in October. You've got Get Published coming up in, let's say, optimistically March, I think is what they told us.
Yes.
You have at least one more next year as well.
Yes, there's Magnetic Abundance, which I'm writing a chapter in as well, which is also March release. And then a super exciting series of books by there's two co-authors, Tracy Rampling Brown and Jenny Alberti, and they are doing a series of 3 books next year called the Wounded Women series. And I have just committed to writing a chapter in all 3 of those. So yeah, that's super exciting, and it's a lot. Mm-hmm. There's also another project coming up as well, but I'm not allowed to talk about that yet. So it's a secret one.
Suspense. I love that.
I know. I can't tell anyone. Yeah, so it's going to be a very busy year next year, which is pretty cool. Like, I'm very excited about that because about 6 to 8 months ago, I didn't even know that this world of indie publishing and multi-author book collaborations even existed. So to be in this space and be busy and active and writing for myself, writing within, like, to help other people in the industry, to help potential authors, and also to be working in editing as well and being able to edit some of the multi-author books and working with the publishers and learning the back end side of things as well. It's just been this amazing 6 months of expansion and growth and luck and saying yes to opportunities that come up and just meeting people and talking to them. And it's so strange because 3 years ago, before the pandemic or whatever, I don't think there would have been this opportunity to go, let's just have a Zoom and a chat. Like, it's so good. And my business, I've worked as a copywriter, as you know, but I have loved editing, and I've worked in editing for a very, very long time, and have worked as have written throughout my life as well. But I did not know that this world existed until recently. So not only am I excited to be part of it, but also to bring other people into it and show them that there is a way that you can tell your story if you want to.
Mm-hmm. I love that you recently discovered this world, because I'm in the same boat. I discovered it about 2 years ago now when I wrote my first science fiction novel. And I think the thing that people don't realize about the publishing world, and it's specifically self-publishing and indie publishing, is how inviting and supportive it is.
Yep.
Right? Like you said, talking to Nicolette, you just get chatting for an hour and a half, and you find this common ground. And the moment, like, books just bring people in. They do. And it's just so magnetic to start talking about these things. And so I'm curious, like, you're doing all these collaborative pieces and things like that. What is it that brought you into that space?
Initially, it was again Facebook, which is so strange because I have been pretty much off social media for the last couple of years. Like, I've kept it there, but I haven't. I stepped away from it. My husband and I separated in early 2020, and I found that that Facebook was just really difficult. Facebook and Instagram, I guess, but social media in general was really difficult. It wasn't particularly healthy for me to spend time on there. It made me really sad. A lot of life changes and things going on, and so I just backed off. Like, I just took this huge step back for social media, and then in the last 2 years, have done almost 3 now, I've done a lot of personal growth and healing, and I'm not the same person as I was 3 years ago at the start of 2020. So I then, created another Facebook profile, and it was mainly a business focus because it's the Ruth Fae writer one. So I was like, no, I'm really stepping into my writing and I'm going to do this. And I was journaling a lot and this feels right. But I didn't really post much because I was still sitting back. And then it's so strange how things happen. Earlier this year, about 6 months ago, I came down with COVID, which I managed to escape for the whole time, but got it. And my kids had gone back to their dads, and I was on the couch just feeling miserable and aching and just sad again. What is my life and all these sorts of things. It was one of those, dark moments of the soul, I guess. And I was grumpy. I was trying to watch Outlander as well to cheer myself up. And I picked up my phone and started scrolling. And two of the women who helped me a lot in my healing journey, who are now very dear friends, but one's a kinesiologist, another one is a moonologist. She runs a moon networking group that I'm part of, where we use the phases of the moon to create ease and flow in your life and business. And they had both tagged me in a post in a group that I wasn't even part of, where people were looking for editors and book coaches. And I think there was 2 posts, and I was like, what? I didn't even know what it was. Like, what is this? So then decided to just go with it in my haze of, feeling horrible and whatever. Was like, okay, I don't even know what this is. I'm going to talk to these people. Yep, sure. My friends have put me forward. That's an honor. I'm not going to let them down, kind of thing. And then I had this conversation with Tracy Rampling Brown, who was the author and publisher of Lunar Wisdom, which is the book that came out in October. And again, it was a 20-minute call. We were on the phone for 2.5 Zoom for 2.5 hours. My kids were like, when can I have my dinner, Mum? They just kept popping their heads out. Oh, she's still talking, and off they'd go back again. And in this conversation with Tracy, she was brilliant. She explained so much of how her business worked, because I have worked with people and edited their books that they've written, and helped talk to business owners through work as a copywriter, talking to business owners who wanted to write a book and don't know how, and all these things just sort of have happened. And because I knew of indie publishing and I knew of self-publishing and I'd done the courses, but people still viewed traditional publishing as the way to go. And I didn't know, I knew there was more, but I didn't know how to get there. And this conversation with Tracy, and then there was another one with Mary Gooden from Divine Destiny Publishing. It was the 2 of them in the same week. They just opened up this world of amazing. And in that came some business opportunities for me, but there was also this, Tracy was doing this Lunar Wisdom book, and I've spent the last 2 years, 18 months, 2 years, in this moon networking, working with the cycles of the moon, bringing it into my life, recognizing when I need to step back and be, when I need to do what works for me with my particular birth chart, like stuff that 2 years ago I would have gone, oh no, that's woo woo and weird. And I I kind of had the interest, but I can't step into that space. And then the world kind of the universe catapulted me into that space. And it just seemed like this synchronistic thing that I got sick, therefore wasn't throwing myself into working kids. And I'd never sit on the couch. So I was on the couch. People tagged me in the Facebook post where, in this indie publishing world. And then I had this amazing conversation where I realized not only how I could be involved in that and how amazing that was, but also how I could bring my clients who wanted to publish books into this world as well. And like you said, be able to support them and guide them through the journey rather than helping them to edit a book and then going, well, here's your manuscript, off you go find a publisher, and then get knockback after knockback, or wait 6 months to hear back that it's a no, or have someone say, yeah, we love this book, but we've already published 2 of those this year, so we're not doing another one. Like, the traditional world is so different to the indie world. Now I can't even remember what your question was at the beginning of all of this, but I guess what drew me to it was that community. It was the fact that Tracy was so open in, I want to share this with you. Hey, you can help people do this too. Let me guide you through the process in one conversation. It's the meeting of other people. Get Published is such a cool container because it's other industry experts that are in there. So I can learn from you and everyone else who's in there. It's finding out how other people do business. It's making connections within business, but it's not that hustly, forced, icky kind of, let's drive our business and let's do this and let's do that and follow this way of marketing. It's just natural and friendly, and so I guess that's what drew me to it, and that's what I love about it, and exploring more and more about it every day. It's really cool.
I love that you mentioned this sense of community, because we just had our first get together with the Get Published authors, and oh my goodness, was it ever empowering to be with others. And I breaking into this industry, breaking in as an entrepreneur, regardless of your industry, can feel very isolating. And you can feel like you can look at everyone else and think of them as your competition, or you can switch your mindset and look at them as valuable resources you can learn from and you can leverage each other. And I can't remember who it was I was talking to. Might have been someone on my marketing team, but they were talking about, like, most of their business comes from direct competitors, because you might not be everyone's cup of tea, but this other person might be. And so while it doesn't work for you, you can absolutely make the reference to someone else and vice versa. And so those competitors, air quotes, become huge alliances, because you know the ins and outs of their world, you know what you can offer and what they're offering. And it's a very unique way of looking at, and much more healthy way of looking at the people that are in your industry. I think that's absolutely great. You talk about collective experiences a little bit in your bio, and the idea of collaborative books is so enticing for me, because you're getting multiple points of view. And the neat part is they don't always have to agree. A good collaborative book does it respectfully, right? Like, you can have varying points of view from a respectful tone. But I think what it gives readers, and feel free to comment on this, is choices, right? Where with single author books, you're getting one perspective, typically, unless they're citing other sources, but you get one perspective and one viewpoint. Multi-author books give you so much more. Yes, you only hear one chapter from a person, but you're getting a look in their head, and you're getting a look in, what do we have, 10, 12 authors now in our Get Published book? That's 10 points of view on the same general topic.
And like you said, especially with Get Published, like, I know there's so we talked about, I do writing coaching and editing, and there's other coaches that are in the book, and there's other editors that are in the book, but we do it differently. So if there is someone who is looking for that guidance, I don't feel in competition with the other people in the group. It's literally like, the way I do it will be different to the way that you do it or the way that someone else does it. So find the person that's right for you. And I'm happy to support that author in their journey, because they're not also going to be necessarily the right person that I want to work with either, or that you want to work with. So that's beautiful. And as far as the perspectives go, I think I'm an avid reader, and I have been, since I was 4 and old enough to figure out how to read. Reading is my escape. It's my happy place. But ultimately, what I realized, the older I got, I guess, and the more that life brings to us, good and bad, the more I realized that I read to learn. I want to understand why people do the things they do. I want to read a book that might be, I don't know, a fantasy novel set in a completely different world, but there are characters doing what they do because they believe in a particular path. And for me, when I read, I love looking at that. I love exploring that. There are things that I will not understand. There are things that will really resonate. It might help me understand me. It might help me understand my best friend or my sister or my partner or my kids. So exactly what you said, seeing those different viewpoints is so important. And that's one of the things that I also love about the multi-author books, is not just a collaboration that sits outside of, like, in the writing process and in the publishing and the launch and all the rest of it, but the fact that there are so many diverse opinions and thoughts. And so someone who purchases it and then is reading through it, like you said, they're learning or getting information from 12 different people, and they might pull a sentence from this person and a sentence from that person that resonates with them, or this person might have an experience that is something that slightly, relates to theirs, and someone might be like, oh my God, you're talking about my life. But there's so much learning from different people in there, which to me is kind of like reading a fiction book, because that's how I read, but not everyone reads that way. So this is another opportunity for people to just read. And I mean, some of the chapters I've read are absolutely amazing. They could be funny or tear-jerking or annoying. You might get to a chapter in a multi-author book where you go, no, I don't like this author, or, well, not the author, but I don't like the way they write, or I don't really resonate with this, and this is not bringing anything to me. And that's okay, because the next chapter might. So you do have, like you said, you do have that openness of experience when you're reading them as well.
Yeah, totally love that. You mentioned that you're an intuitive writing coach.
Yes.
What does that mean? Tell us more.
I have been waiting for someone to ask me that, because I only came up with that as a title like a month ago. So when I was working as a copywriter, I found that, I studied and then started working with people, and as I got more and more experience over the years, I loved it. The thing I loved about it was working with people to bring their knowledge and of their business, because copywriting is business focused. So people work in a business, say I have a client who is a chiropractor. She's a beautiful woman, so just lovely natured, and she knows how to be a chiropractor. She studied for 7 years or whatever to become a doctor. She has worked in her practice for however long. She knows what she wants to bring to it, because she's a very heart-centered practitioner as well. I don't know how to be a chiropractor. So when I started working with her, which was in, I can't remember what we started with, but I've been working with her and writing her blogs for quite a while. I didn't feel comfortable just going away, researching something about chiropractic care and then writing a blog, which is something that many copywriters do. I wanted to know what she thought about that topic, say spinal health. She has that knowledge, she has the passion, she loves the business, she has drive, all the rest of it. So it's her view and her beliefs and her heart and soul, really, that needs to, in my mind, that needed to be in her blogs. And I found more and more from talking to people that my job as a copywriter, the way it panned out for me, was not so much sitting down and having a client brief and going, okay, well, I'll go away and write your website copy and I'll do whatever. It was more, the important part of that was more drawing their knowledge and experience and passion and their why and all the rest of it from them. I didn't have those words back then because I hadn't kind of stepped into this space of understanding that those inner things. But so as I sort of grew and worked with more and more people, particularly solopreneurs, because they do have a passion. They also don't want to relinquish control necessarily. They, like a lot of the women I've worked with, want to be involved in their business. And as we're going through writing website copy, for example, their business would start to change and evolve because they were focusing on it as well. So we tend to have projects, well, for me anyway, the way I worked, projects would blow out. And that wasn't good for them, it wasn't good for me. And eventually I kind of sat there going, what is going on? Like, why is this not working? Why does all these website projects just seem to be difficult? Like, I love the clients and I love the work and I love writing. So why is this so hard? And I realized that it was a discordance. And so what I started to do was work with the client and the pandemic kicked in as well. So we had the whole Zoom thing going on. And we would work together to create copy together. And we do an hour and a half, like every week for 5 to 6 weeks, where we would literally work together. And what would happen is they would speak. And I would, jot stuff down, I'd record it and whatever, and then create the copy from, I guess, from their brain and their heart, from what they have said. So it became more an intuitive kind of thing where they would speak and then I would edit what they'd said and then, bring in all the tips and tricks and skills and being aware of where white space on the paper is and where headings should go and keywords and SEO and all those sorts of things all came into it. But the actual process was much more energetic and flowing and co-creative. So, and then there's so much to it, but another issue that I'm sure you've come across with people is that people feel that they can't write. There's this huge block. I can't write. I don't have time. I don't know how. My grade 6 teacher marked my essay with too many red pens and I've never been able to write a word again. Like, everyone has blocks. I love writing and I have blocks. So there was also that part of working through people's blocks with them. And I've sat with clients in Zoom calls where I have literally gone, I'm going to turn off my, mute myself and turn off my video. And you've got 10 minutes. Just write, like, say, an about you page for a website. Just write about yourself. And, there'd be journal prompts and conversation and all the rest of it before that. And often I'd check in at 5 minutes and people would be writing and it's no judgment. I don't care if there's spelling mistakes. I don't care if there's half finished sentences. I don't care anything about what you're doing. Just get what's in your head out of your head. And then when I'd come back, they'd often go, can I have another 5 minutes? Or I'll finish this later. And people who literally said half an hour before, I can't write, would have written 600 words. Mm-hmm. So it became this really space of collaboration and co-creation where I was helping people to write and then doing the editing. So helping them polish and we call it sprinkling magic quite often. So through that process, I guess the intuitive writing coaching was born, although it became a copywriting coaching. And then when I stepped into this space of the indie publishing and this world that we've been talking about, that was when I started coaching people through writing chapters in their books. And it's such a similar thing. And I guess it is, sometimes I bring oracle cards into it if I feel that the person is comfortable with that sort of thing or open to it. And even people who aren't, I had a website client once, and I did draw a card before we sat down, and she started talking, and I said, how do you want your website to feel? And she said, oh, I just feel it needs to have harmony. And the card that I work with fairy cards, and the card that I had drawn was the harmony card. And I was like, oh my God, look at this. And she just burst out laughing, but we didn't really know each other. It was a recommendation, connection kind of thing. And it created this really easy way to just start talking to her as well. And oh my God, you get me. Yeah, let's work together. So yeah, I guess the intuitive part is that energetic. It is connecting with another person. It is creating that safe space for them to work through blocks or to face some fears, or and often writing blocks come because people don't want to write what's difficult, particularly when we're talking the multi-author books or solo books where people are writing, things about their past or trauma or whatever, things that change their lives. And for me, I feel I have to be open to that. I have to be, I've cried with people when we're writing things, and laughed with people when we're writing things. And it's their writing, it's their story, business-wise, it's their knowledge and their experience. But if they can't get it out, then that's what I'm here to do. And that is an intuitive connection that's helping them tell their story in their voice. It's not mine. I can interview you and go away and write something. It's not necessarily going to be about you. It might have more of my voice or a salesy pitch or whatever. That's not what I want to work with. I want to work with people to help them tell their stories in their way and in their voice, where they feel safe and they can learn and grow from it as well. Yeah.
Wow. And you've been waiting to answer that question.
That.
I can tell. That was awesome.
Really? I'm like, oh my God, I think I just waffled.
No, when entering into this business again, and calling myself a coach, to me meant connection. Coach and connection went hand in hand. And when I started learning more about this industry, and in particular group programs or the online programs, I very quickly learned that wasn't going to be for me, because it wasn't going to be the connection piece that I needed. Like groups, you can still gain some connection, but I didn't want the faceless number of a strictly online program, because like you said, stories, when you're talking about books, they're so personal. Even if they're business oriented, they are personal. You're going to put your voice and your spin on it, right? And I wanted to bring people into a zone like you, that they were comfortable to explore the things that were uncomfortable.
Yeah,
because that's what makes a good story.
That's a really short way of saying what I said before. I love that.
Yeah, I think that in the Get Published book, that's what comes across so clearly, is that all of the women in that book are there for connection.
Yeah,
and it's so profound. We have editors, we have copywriters, we have ghostwriters, we have book coaches, and we are all there for the same goal of connecting with somebody. Yeah, I think that's really beautiful.
It is beautiful.
Yeah, I'll just wrap up with one final question, if that's all right with you.
Sure. Yep. Absolutely.
Is there a tip that you could give somebody that is writing a book or wants to write a book? What words of wisdom could you pass on to them?
What words of wisdom? So, this is easier said than done, but what I often say to myself as well as to other people, and they are words that I sometimes have to force myself to live by, is the words are just right. And like I said before, blocks can be really difficult to get past. But anything can be worked with. Any content can be, spelling mistakes can be fixed up, or it can be made to sound a bit better, but not if you don't get it out of your head in the first place. So it's take the editing hat off, take off the hat of self-judgment, take off all of those things that make you feel that I can't write, I'm not an author, I don't want to put these words down, because it literally remove all of those things from you and just write, let it go, see what comes out. And part of that is, I remember I had an amazing year 10 English teacher called Helen Billett. I've never forgotten her. Don't know where she is. I have tried to find her. And when she was teaching us at high school, she said, we were learning to write essays properly. And she said, just write. That's where I got it from, was just write. Get that first, your opening, introduction down, and just keep going. And then go back and look at your introduction, and you'll probably rewrite it. And if you've got the time, obviously you're not in an exam, that's great. And I still do that today, because I sit down and I get assailed by who's going to want to read this, who am I to think there's things that other people want to say or want to read. My blocks all come in, or conditioning, or thought patterns, or beliefs, or however you want to look at it. But if you literally just put all of that aside, take 3 deep breaths and then just write, you can work with whatever comes out. And that really open and raw writing, whether there's spelling mistakes or half finished sentences or bullet points or whatever, is so, so important. And if you can't write, speak it, record it. If you really can't put pen to paper or fingers on a keyboard, record it. I've got clients who record blogs, like on their as they're walking their dogs, and then send them to me, and I write blogs from it. They're still writing, it's still their voice. It's like, I guess it's a form of ghostwriting in a way. So yeah, just write, get it out, however that needs to be, would be my tip. And do not self-edit yourself until after. Or get someone else to do that.
Yeah, self-editing really leads to dead projects. It really does. Yes. Because people don't want to go on. Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Ruth. This was a pleasure.
Thank you too. It's been lovely to chat to you.